All right, welcome to episode 21. It's been a while since I recorded last, and I decided ultimately not to explain my absence. I don't think you guys would be interested to hear my excuses for why I've been gone for so long. Who gives a shit? Let's just talk about horror movies. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my top 21 favorite horror movies of the 21st century because it's episode 21. So you see the clever thing I did there, right? 21, 21, 21. So, and I'm also going to be talking about five horror movies, all of them mostly foreign horror movies from this year. Movies like Bloodflower, Communion Girl, Malum, and Cube. Two of those are remakes. And I don't know how to pronounce this one. Huesera, the Bone Woman. That's like a Spanish film, I believe, from Mexico, and one of these is from Spain, one of them's from Japan. They're all over. So, let's talk about some horror movie news topics, things that have been announced since my last recording, like 7 weeks ago. Not a whole lot, really. Nothing interesting to me, at least, other than one thing, and that's we got a leak about Terrifier 3, and that is that it's going to be set during Christmas, which I think that seems uh, pretty exciting. Like, there's cool possibilities with that. Like, picturing Art the Clown in a snowy environment, going to like I don't know, like a mall, killing a mall Santa. Like you could do so many cool things with that. Have really creative Christmas themed kills. Him decorating Christmas trees with body parts, intestines, and eyeballs. I mean, they could do so much. And he already walks around with a sack like he's Santa, so now he can actually walk around with a Santa sack instead of that garbage bag full of his goodies. And yeah, go to a mall, kill a mall Santa, kill a kid in front of the parents. Like maybe he kills a mall Santa, takes his spot, and then the kid hops on his lap, and then he kills the kid. That's something that Art the Clown has yet to do so far in this series. I don't think he's actually killed children, unless he did in like the dream sequence. But that's the dream sequence. That doesn't really count to me. He's attacked children, but I don't think he's ever killed children. Am I wrong? I mean, All Hallows Eve, yes, but not in Terrifier. Not in the world of Terrifier has Art the Clown killed children yet. So, so that's that. I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, Terrifier 3 set during Christmas, and I think it's supposed to come out next year, hopefully. Not a confirmed release date yet. Tony Todd has been confirmed to reprise his role as Bloodworth, the mortician in Final Destination 6. Now, I don't know what they're going to call it. They keep going back and forth on this title wherever you look. It's part 6, it's Bloodlines. I hope it's not called Bloodlines because that's been done to death. And anytime you see a horror sequel called Bloodlines, it usually spells disaster. I mean, look at Hellraiser Bloodlines and look at the most recent Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. Not too many people like that. So let's not call Final Destination 6 Bloodlines because that's just a red flag. So yeah, he's returning. Kind of mixed on that. I could do without him because him coming back just means that he's gonna explain another rule that he for some reason withheld from the other people in the franchise. I don't know why he does that. It's like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell those people this rule. I guess I'll save that information for the next group of people that ask me, hey, how do you cheat death? It's just weird. Like, I don't want him to come back just to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about this rule. So apparently now you can do this to cheat death. I just forgot to tell Alex and Kimberly and Sam, the guy from part 5. I just didn't tell them for some reason, but I'm going to tell you guys this rule. I just conveniently didn't tell them before. So I hope they don't bring him back just to do that again in one scene. Be like, oh, you gotta do this now. Like, actually do something else with his character. Don't just bring him back to be like, hey, it's Tony Todd. He's back. And then just waste his character in one scene. You gotta do something else. Explore his character. How about we find out exactly how he knows so fucking much and how he's still alive? Like, did he have a premonition at some point? Did he cheat death? How does he know so much? I want to know. Talk to Me has been greenlit for a sequel pretty much like opening weekend. It was pretty quickly after when they announced this. So this is old news. Um, And am I excited about that? No, but I did like Talk to Me, but I could do without a sequel. I don't think it needs a sequel. In fact, in my review, I said if anything, they should do a prequel because I would kind of like to know how the game was discovered, this hand, and who created it exactly, and how they figured out all these rules because they have very specific rules in that game. And I'm like, who figured that out? Like, how many trials did they go through before they realized, okay, you can only be possessed for like whatever seconds they said in the movie before it's too dangerous? I want to know how they discovered all that. And so next, and the final thing I'll quickly mention here is that Return of the Living Dead has been announced. The remake. It's getting remade, rebooted, whatever. And they announced a director by the name of Steve Walsh, Wolsch, Walsh, who directed Muck. Haven't seen it. Looked at its rating. It's pretty piss poor, so that doesn't excite me. Apparently, it hasn't done anything great. So that doesn't really excite me. Does Return of the Living Dead need a remake? No, because the original, let's face it, is the best zombie movie ever made. So we don't need a remake of Return of the Living Dead. Now, let's get into, I guess, some of these horror movies. And let me find them. I guess let's talk about Blood Flower since it's right here on my phone. And like I always have to say, I'm just going to read my notes because it's been so long since I've seen these movies. I can't just talk about them like off the top of my head. I don't remember all the details of these movies. So, Blood Flower, it's listed as 2022, but it got a wide release this year, back in like September. This is from Malaysia. It's a Malaysian exorcism film set in a low-income, dirty apartment building. It's about a family of 4 that do dangerous exorcisms together as a family. So that's a little different. And the mom gets killed by a jinn in Act 1. This is pretty early on, so that's not a spoiler. That's like the setup. You know, they go to this house and they do an exorcism. The mom gets killed by this evil jinn. And then, yeah, the son has like powers that he inherited, or, you know, it's hereditary in the family. They got like these special powers. And so the son and young daughter also share their mother's gift of seeing and hearing beings from like another dimension. The son's visions become more and more vile and disturbing as the movie progresses. We see a woman eating a dead fetus at one point, and even kids die in this movie violently. And the look of the demon was unique and kind of cool, but the screeching sound got on my nerves a bit. There was a lot of that in this movie, the screeching. And the score was really good, though, and the sound design outside of the, like I just said, the screeching. I don't know, it's just too much. Like, it sounded creepy, but then they just, every time this demon thing was on camera or in the vicinity, you could just hear it screeching like some dinosaur, and it just kind of got on my nerves a bit. I'm sure if you've watched enough of my videos, you've probably heard me say time and time again that I'm easily irritated. And just like repetitious things said over and over again, sounds repeated. I just can't stand it. So the dad seems like a terrible parent. A, he always leaves his kids alone, unsupervised, sometimes with possessed people, and B, takes them to ghost horror films as if their sixth sense abilities don't provide enough horror in their lives. Like, if you live this life and you're going around performing these exorcisms and you see horrific real life shit every day, do you really need to go to the theater to watch ghost movies? No. Like, that's the last thing you're gonna do if you live that life. You know, as much as I love horror movies, if suddenly I realized this shit was real and it became like my life, I would stop watching this shit. um, what else here? Yada yada yada. The movie has the trope of someone possessed walking abnormally and their bones cracking, you know, that cracking sound with like every movement. You know, they walk kind of like how the chick in the ring walks out of the TV, and even Malignant does it. Like, it's in a million movies. Even another movie I'm going to be talking about later does it. Huesera, however you say it. It just seems to be a trope. Like, anytime there's like a weird demonic thing, it always has to walk weird. It can't just walk normally. It has to like walk backwards, bend in the weird way. The bones snap with each movement. It's like, okay, whatever. It also has the whole "take me instead" trope in exorcism films, which I'm getting really sick and tired of. The gore and the freaky premonitions the son has are what makes this an above average possession film for me, but it kind of overstays its welcome a bit. So that's all I have to say about that. What else do I want to talk about? Bloodflower, that's the end of that one. Let's talk about, I guess, Communion Girl. But first, let me find it. It's in here somewhere. Actually, no, I just scrolled right by this movie, Huesera, the Bone Woman. All right, so this is a Spanish curse movie about motherhood. A pregnant woman who constantly cracks her knuckles is plagued with visions of faceless people who, in typical horror fashion, move unnaturally, crawling sometimes, and you can hear their bones pop with every move, like I literally was just saying about the other movie. So, yeah, we got that in this one, and it starts with a somewhat eerie, giant, like Virgin Mary statue. I'm not sure who it was exactly. Maybe it was a Virgin Mary. Somebody, I don't know, but just that whole opening scene I thought was kind of eerie. And actually ends with the mom successfully defeating the curse with some local Mexican ritual that looked quite silly. All right, so yeah, kind of like how in The Wailing they had like their way of doing things. I guess it's just like a cultural thing, like the way they go about like getting rid of this curse, their ritual. It was just so like specific and funny to me. So yeah, it just came across as a little silly, took me out of the moment. And the hand reaching over the foot of the bed, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but there's a moment with a hand in the bed that was pretty effective. That's probably the standout moment. The nightmares and hallucinations are the best moments to me, and the acting seemed good, and I like the chemistry between the lead couple. There's pregnant lesbian sex. Um, you ever watch that genre of porn? Pregnant lesbian sex? Because you get that in this, and it was very interesting. There's the movie never goes into what this curse is and what caused it exactly. So yeah, I don't remember getting any clear answers as to what caused all this shit. Maybe I missed it, so let me know. So that kind of bummed me out at the end. There wasn't really any explanations, so it just I don't know, left me underwhelmed at the end. And it's got a couple of creepy shots, but it gets a little repetitive and has some tiresome tropes in it. So yeah, ultimately I gave this a 3 out of 5. I gave Bloodflower a 3 out of 5 also. Now the next movie, let's talk about Communion Girl, I guess. All right, actually, no, I think the next movie up is going to be Cube, the remake of the Canadian co-production, I think, the Canadian 1997 Cube movie. And this is basically the same exact thing. There's not much different here, but let's talk about it anyways. All right, so this is a foreign remake that's about 90% the same and doesn't deliver the gory goods after the opening kill, doesn't explain why they're in there, and doesn't develop the characters enough. It looks good, and the electronic rhythmic score is the best aspect. The acting is fine, and the pacing picks up in the second act. It could have been trimmed down a few minutes by shortening the lingering shots. It's repetitive. That's a theme today. I'm saying that a lot. I'm repetitive, but these movies can be repetitive to me also. And I don't get why the Cube Corporation sent in a female android to secretly monitor the group. Spoiler! So that's what was different this time around. Just install cameras like in part 3, so I don't know why they did that. I don't get that. The best character died first, and of course the kids survived. So, shocker. This just needed more gory kills by creative traps and a cool like twist. That's what this movie should have been. That's what the original was. It was like, all right, let's see what the next cube is gonna do to this poor victim. And in this one, it was just nothing memorable. Like I'm trying to think of a single kill in this movie. It's probably like 5 of them. I can't remember a single one. In the original, you had people getting sliced and diced. It was practical effects. In this one, there's mostly like CG. One person I think got like a cube like pushed through them, like they got like a cube size shaped hole in their chest, and that's it. Like I can't remember anything else, so it's just whatever. I mean, it looks good. It's a cool concept, but just not great execution here. I think I think the original did it better. But again, it wasn't a total time waster. I would give this also a 3 out of 5. It's okay. Just don't expect anything much, different. If you've seen the original, you've basically seen this one. Now let's move on. What's the next one gonna be? I'm thinking not Bloodflower. What was it? Communion Girl? All right, where is it? I'm scrolling. Here it is. All right, this is another one that has a different release date on Letterboxd, but it came out wide release back in August. And who directed this? I want to say it's someone. Yeah, Victor Garcia. He's the guy who did Return to House on Haunted Hill, I believe, and that Hellraiser sequel, Revelations, that everybody hates, but I don't hate. I don't like it. I don't hate it though. Yeah, so that should tell you something. If you hate those movies, you're probably going to hate this one too. Same director, Victor Garcia. So, this is an unoriginal, predictable Spanish supernatural ghost slash curse movie that feels heavily influenced by The Ring. The strong performances and chemistry between the two main leads is what carries this film for me. The doll looks creepier than the alien-eyed ghost girl who wields it. The open suicide was nice and bloody. Only one other person dies on camera after that by a conveniently parked truck loaded with sharp, pointy logs. That's happened in a lot of movies also. It seems like whenever someone crashes in a horror movie, they gotta crash into something that's like carrying sharp things in it, whether it be like sticks, logs, or poles, something. Like the opening of the descent. That a scene like that happens in this movie. The lightning is very yellow. Only one other person dies on camera. I already read that. I'm sorry. I suck at reading. I have that thing where I sometimes will read a line twice. That's why I don't read books, because it takes me like 10 years to finish a book, because I'll like read a line and then I'll read it again and again. I'm like, shit, I need to go down. What? So I have that issue sometimes. I always lose my spot too. All right, so the movie is set in the 80s for whatever reason. The lightning is very yellow, like a Saw movie. Oh, no, no, not the lightning. The lighting. I thought I wrote lightning. No, the lighting, the look of the movie, it kind of reminded me of like the Saw movies. It has that kind of aesthetic to it. The movie ends with a flashback reveal that I saw coming. I'm glad they didn't go the, priest was a pedophile and the true antagonist the whole time. Like I thought, I swear to God, that's where they were going. Like, they're going to reveal that this priest, he killed a little girl who's now the ghost, and he was a pedophile. Like, that would be so extra, like, cliche. But they didn't go that route, thankfully. There's no good scare sequences in this, just a lot of, like, lights flickering, doors opening, closing repeatedly on their own, blah, blah, blah. You've seen it before. The main protagonist, Sarah's best friend, has an abusive alcoholic father who makes her fetch beers for him, and you want him dead so badly. I say I already lost my spot. They had you think she killed him, only to later say she almost did. So that kind of bummed me out there. Wish she still would have been brought in for questioning. Like, yeah, she didn't kill her dad, but she almost fucking did. Didn't she like stab him in the throat or shoot him or something? And then they just kind of like brush it off. Like it never gets brought up. Like, okay, like they're not gonna. He's not gonna like knowing who he is. Like he would have killed you or called the cops or something. Like, there's no way you're getting away with that. So, wish. See, I'm doing it again. They find a corpse of a missing girl and seemingly don't report it. And how does she escape the well? It's a pretty deep well she falls in, and then they just cut to her being out of it. Like, how did they get her out of there? The identity of the ghost is never revealed, and neither her motives. So, another movie that left me hanging with no answers. So this was a 5 out of 10 because it's just so basic, generic, looked good, good performances, everything I said that I liked, but just the story, the scares, the ending, it's not worth your time. Not a bad movie, but it's not good either, so don't check it out. Communion Girl, that's the end of that. All right, so last but not least, Malum, the remake of Last Shift, which I really enjoyed. I think I talked about it on one of my recent rankings. Whatever year that came out in, I talked about it there. So, I'm trying to find it, sorry. I have like all these ranked, so I'm just like scrolling everywhere. All right, here it is. All right, so an unexpected and quite frankly unnecessary remake from the same director of Last Shift, which is far superior to this, but this one at least changed it up enough, unlike the Cube. Um, and it looks more polished. Like it looks like it has a better slick look to it. And it just looks like it had more production value. It has a bigger police station this time around. There's a lot more locations within the police station that she gets to walk around. And so this had more money behind it by the look of it, and we get to see more of what the cult is doing to the whole town this time. And the gore is great. The cinematography looks amazing. The score was unnerving, and the lead actress was pretty good in the role. And they give the lead character more of a personal connection to the cult instead of a dead victim calling the station. She is getting prank calls from the cult this time around. So that was a little different also. The opening scene, I think I want to save this for. I don't want to jump ahead. That's what I want. I don't want to jump ahead because I haven't seen everything, but this might be the best opening of the year. But there might be something else coming later on this year that might beat it. But I'm thinking this is the best opening of 2023 for me. This was just such a shocking opening. But like I said, I want to jump the gun and say it now definitively, and then tomorrow watch a movie that has a better one. But I'm thinking this is probably going to be the best opening of the year for me. It was just so shocking. I laughed my ass off too, and I rewound it. I watched it like 3 times. It was just such a cool opening. And the ending was slightly different, which I liked. The setting is bigger, but just as spooky. I'm mixed on the look of the lower god demon, they call it. And has like a circular head, like a circle around his head. I thought that looked a little silly to me. And intestines used as like dog leashes was a nice touch. Bit of dark comedy to me. And the most gruesome, over-the-top hanging scene I've ever seen. Like a woman in this movie gets hung. I'll spoil this. Maybe this will intrigue you to watch the movie. A woman gets hung in this movie, and the noose like tightens so tight that her eyeballs pop out of her skull, and then eventually it just rips her head off. I was like, holy shit! Like that is over the top. That was gruesome, gory goodness. I loved it. That was another thing that like had me rewinding and watching it again and again. I was like, holy shit, that was awesome. There were so many moments where I would have left the police station. I feel like they make her character stay there for far too long. Any rational human being would have left like 20 minutes into this movie. And I don't understand the whys and hows of what the cult is doing, but I think killing Jessica somehow will bring their god to Earth or bring them power even in the afterlife. But I'm not sure. It's fast-paced, shot beautiful, and has many scares and gags to keep you engaged. So, yep, that's all I gotta say about that. Malum, 7 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. But I prefer the original. I think Last Shift just did it better. The scares were better. It wasn't as over-the-top gory, but I just think the movie was overall creepier and just done better, at least to me. So, Malum, that's the end of that discussion. Now let's jump into my top 21. All right, 21. One cut of that. And I won't talk too long about these movies. I don't want this video to be too long. So one cut of that, I talked about this movie in my top 19 of 2019. This is a movie that you shouldn't know much about going into it. It's best to just go into this movie not knowing a single thing. But I will say that the first 35 minutes were actually shot in one long take. So that's pretty awesome that they were able to pull that off. Next up, The Last Exorcism. Yes, that's right, The Last Exorcism. My favorite found footage, horror mockumentary movie, whatever you want to call it. And it's my favorite because of the characters, and it's PG-13 done in a very effective, scary way. Like this isn't hurt by its PG-13 rating at all. It's pretty scary, intense, phenomenal acting, great characters. Love the setting, the story, the setup of it. An exorcism a priest who doesn't believe in exorcisms, doesn't believe in demons and all that shit that he preaches. He wants to prove once and for all that there is no such thing as possessed people. It's all psychological, and it's all about the power of suggestion. No one's actually possessed, so he hires a film crew to prove that's all bullshit. But of course, it ends up being real. But yeah, I just really enjoy this movie. I have a review for this one, and I want to say I have a review for probably 90% of the movies I'm about to talk about. Frozen. Uh, Adam Green's Frozen, not the Olaf. Do you want to build a snowman Frozen? This is just absolutely amazing because of, again, the characters I love in this, and this is one of the only movies that really just makes me feel very cold when I watch it. Uh, just the scene where she gets like frostbite and she's like peeling off the skin on like her nose and or her cheek or whatever, and then like she has her hand on the rail and it's like stuck there. Like that scene grosses me out. There's some good gross out gore in here, some wolves eating people, and there's so many different threats. And I love movies like this where it's one location. It's just one obstacle course after another. Like, I just like movies like this where the writer gets really creative. It's like, all right, how can I get these people stuck here? And then, not only do the characters have to get creative, but the writer has to get creative also and make the characters, figure out ways to escape the situation. And I think the decisions in this movie are smart. I don't think they do anything that's so stupid or eye rolly, that makes you like shake your head at them, like, oh my god, they're so stupid. Nothing like that for me. I thought everything they did made sense. And yeah, I like to see you get out of this situation. I hate people that are like, oh, if I was in that situation, put me in that chair, I'd get down in like 20 minutes. Like, no, you wouldn't. All right, I'd like to see you try. They were like 50 feet up. The ground was frozen solid. And those wires are sharp. There's fucking hungry wolves below you. Like, I like to see you get out of that situation. Tough guy. I hate people like that. Um, I don't know how to pronounce that, but this movie's called in America Sleep Tight. This is a Spanish film, and it's a fucking masterpiece. All these movies are masterpieces. Funny enough, when putting this list together, of course, I had to take all my highest rated movies, put them together, and I found out that I only have 21 movies, coincidentally enough, 21 movies that are horror films from the 21st century that I rate a 5 out of 5. So it just so happened to work out that way. So that's weird. And that just tells you how many 5 out of 5s I give. I save that rating for very special films. I'm not one of those people that's just like, oh, I liked it, 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. No, it has to be like a really damn good movie. Have me like in it beginning to end, never bored for a single second, or just blow me away, or be at least like very nostalgic. It could have flaws, but if it's like a super nostalgic film to me, I'll give it a pass. Like some of these movies you'll see on this list, but I don't give a shit. It's my list. It's personal favorites. Sleep Tight. I just think this movie's phenomenal. The tension, the suspense, the ending, super dark. One of the most fucked up horror villains ever. Like what he's doing, his motive, his reasonings, why. Just what a sick bastard. Check this movie out. It is worth it. Next movie, A Quiet Place, which is getting a third movie. This movie has amazing characters and amazing performances, amazing everything. I've reviewed this movie also, not the other movie. I don't think I reviewed Sleep Tight, but I have reviewed this one. I can't think of anything to criticize about it. Some people say like the CG aliens or whatever. I don't think they look that bad. Or they say like their weakness, how they find it out, it might seem like convenient or something. It's whatever. It's a movie. Everything's convenient in a lot of movies. It's when things become too convenient that it becomes a problem to me. But them finding out that loud noises make their the sides of their heads open up, and then you just shoot in there and kill them. Like, I don't see how that's such a big deal to some people. But yeah, great tension in this also. Suspenseful as fuck. The use of silence in this movie. Just very nail biting, just awesome movie all around. The Neon Demon. This is a movie that I've gone up and down on. First watch, loved it. Second watch, kind of bored with it. Third watch, loved it again. This is like, I would say, like, this is this century's like Suspiria. This is this generation's Suspiria, but with actual like substance. It's like Suspiria, as much as I love it, there's not much like substance there. It's just style, the lighting, the music, cinematography. And while this movie has all those as well, this one also has a lot to say, about all kinds of things, narcissism, beauty, and, the fashion industry or modeling industry, whatever, all kinds of things. And the performances in this are also incredible. I love Ellie. Is that her name? Ellie Fanning, I want to say her name. Yeah, Ella Fanning. She's incredible. And the ending is shocking and a bit of a head scratcher. Like, what the hell's happening there? But it's awesome. A lot of cool visuals in this. It's beautiful to look at. And I just fucking love it now. The soundtrack is amazing. At least listen to that if you haven't watched the movie. Listen to the soundtrack. It's fucking phenomenal. And Frailty. Bill Paxton's Frailty. Stars in it, directed it. I reviewed this one also. And it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think what I love so much about this movie, it's probably the thing I love most about it, is the whole like twist. There's multiple twists and turns in this, and you're just questioning the characters the entire time. Like, who do you get behind? Who's crazy here? Who's telling the truth? It's one of those kinds of movies. And then, of course, they pull the rug out towards the end. You're like, oh shit, this person was telling the truth. And that's just awesome. And then it's like, before you know it, there's another twist. Like, there's just like 3 twists by the end of this. And that's what makes it so awesome. I won't say anything else. I don't want to spoil it. This is a twist-heavy movie. You gotta watch it without knowing too much. 10 Cloverfield Lane, the supposed sequel to Cloverfield, although it feels very much like a standalone movie. If I see it as a standalone movie, there's nothing about this that feels like the first Cloverfield. Like, even the aliens in this, like, there's no giant Godzilla-looking alien in this. Like, it's like completely different aliens in a completely different world. I don't know how this could be connected to Cloverfield, but if there's an explanation, give it to me. I'm willing to read any explanation you got. But yeah, I love this movie so much because I'm just such a big fan of Mary Elizabeth Winstead and her performance in this, and John Goodman in this especially. Holy shit, like, he's intimidating as fuck in this, and the tension and the pacing of this, the characters, smartly written final girl here. She, like, the first thing she does as soon as she wakes up, she automatically like takes a crutch and makes like a knife out of it and does something to like lure the guy in there. Like, she is smart, she's quick on her toes. Like, she is awesome. I'm sorry, she is an underrated final girl. People like to say Sydney is so amazing from Scream, but she's not even a final girl because 20 people live in every fucking movie in that franchise. So quit calling her a final girl. She's not. This girl is amazing. I love taking a shit on the Scream franchise every opportunity I get, just to piss off the Ghostface fanboys that might be listening. So yeah, I reviewed this one also, so I won't talk too much about this. I reviewed this one also. Very unique, fucked up film. Love it. Brutal, just dark ending that made my jaw drop the first time. And I love the weirdness of this movie. It's just such a weird movie. It's got some very weird visuals and dreams in it. Some nasty, gross out moments. And yeah, I want to get into it because it gets pretty gross, especially in one scene. But it's like a character study. It's just, we're in the mind of this fucked up girl, this socially awkward girl who wants to be like a surgeon, and she's got a sick sister. And so yeah, and she like practices surgeries on like animals at first, but then of course, you know how that goes. Psycho people start on animals, and then eventually they start doing things to people later on in life. And yeah, so very unique, awesome film. Check out Excision right now. Trick or Treat, the horror anthology, one of the best anthologies, the best anthology of this century because of the atmosphere, the cinematography, the stories in this are all good. Not a weak one in it. Um, and the twist of it all like taking place on the same street. And believe it or not, this actually was shot on the same street. A lot of these houses that you see in the movie were shot on the same street. And some of those houses have been torn down since, but yeah, they actually shot this house, this movie, all these houses on the same street in real life. And it's the same street that they shot Laurie's house in Freddy vs. Jason. But yeah, just great atmosphere. This is the most Halloween looking Halloween movie there is, really. And number 11, The Black Coat's Daughter. Review for this one also, and Trick or Treat. This movie is just, man, it's a slow burn, but it doesn't bother me. Like, it's got this great sense of dread throughout, kind of like Hereditary. Not as much, but man, like it's such a somber, it's a quiet movie too. Like a lot of the people in this movie talk very quietly, and it has a pretty dark, twisted third act. And there's also a twist in it that I've read a lot of people say, like, oh, I saw that coming. I did not see that twist coming at all. And this is another movie with amazing performances. You know, Kierna Shipka, who was just in Totally Killer, the like Amazon original. And this has Emma Roberts, Lucy Boynton, and this is directed by Oz Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins. And he directed I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. He directed Gretel and Hansel. Which Gretel and Hansel I was okay with. Stylistically, visually, that was a good movie, but I just wasn't really that into the story. But fuck, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. That movie just bored me to tears. But this, to me, is Oz Perkins' masterpiece. If you have not seen this movie, you're doing yourself a disservice. Shaun of the Dead, one of the best horror comedy and best zombie movies ever. It's like this is right up there, neck and neck with Return of the Living Dead for me. It's so funny. It's got so much heart. Also, the friendships in this, the relationships. It's a comedy with zombies. Is that that's the tagline, right? It's a romantic comedy with zombies. Yeah, like this movie, one moment is cracking you up, and then the next moment you're like tearing up, and then the next moment you're laughing again. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions, but it's done so well that the style of it, Eggers like editing style that he does in a lot of his movies, like those kind of like montages of different shots, and yeah, I just love the editing, the style. There's cool like long takes in this, going up and down the street, and it's just so cleverly executed. The direction of this is phenomenal, and it's got the zombie gore that you want and expect in a zombie movie. A zombie movie without gore is like a slasher movie without gore to me. Like you need it. All right, you gotta have the zombies rip somebody apart at some point, and you get that with the biggest douchebag character in the movie. But yeah, even the music in this film, when they start beating the shit out of that one guy to that Queen song, so many great moments in this. So yeah, Shaun of the Dead, masterpiece, and one of the best out there. Another one with a fucked up ending, one of my favorite endings of all time because of how fucking twisted and risky. Like, this is an ending that will make or break the film for you. Obviously, for me, it made it for me, although I was already loving the movie up until that point also. But this was just like the cherry on top ending. Like, holy shit, they went there. They pulled no punches. This is a gut punch of an ending, and I just love the one location setting. Again, like Frozen, I like one location movies typically when done right. This does it excellent. The writing of it. It's the only knock on the film, and I don't think it's the film's fault. It's just a product of its time. It came out in 2007. They didn't have the biggest budget. It's 2007. The CGI is not that great in this, but it's still a phenomenal movie. So I highly recommend you see it in black and white. Also, I watched it in black and white last time, and it was pretty fun. I liked it. Number 8. Let's speed this up. Maniac. I reviewed it. Phenomenal slasher movie. I love the fact that it's done in POV. Elijah Wood's great. The K&B effects. I just thought it was a fantastic idea to do this all in first person POV. That's awesome. Number 7, Saint Maud, another movie I reviewed. One of my favorite A24 films. It's a masterpiece. Love it. Another, again, a lot of these movies have something in common. They have dark, memorable endings, and this one has a fucked up, awesome ending that made my jaw drop. And man, I don't want to say too much about it, but this is like a psychological character study, and I just love Maud in this movie. I feel so sorry for her, a very sympathetic character, and I just love the way it wrapped up at the end. Very well directed, and I can't say enough about it. Can't say enough good. And another movie, fucking amazing ending to this movie as well. All these, I could make like a top 10 best horror movie endings list, which I already did, and a lot of these movies would be on that list. I Saw the Devil. Love this ending. Love the premise. Revenge movie with, a lot of horror elements. You got the psycho killer and some cannibals in it. And this guy, his wife gets killed. And instead of getting quick, easy revenge on this guy, he captures him, fucks him up for a bit, lets him go, and then recaptures him again and breaks another limb, sets him free again. I just love that whole premise. And it's a like 2.5 hour movie, but it flies by. And it's just so mesmerizing. The cinematography, the score, the acting, it's amazing. Evil Dead. Probably my favorite remake of all time. This is up there because it's just so fucking fun, gorgeous to look at. Another movie that's beautifully shot, and it rains blood. How can you not like that? It fucking rains blood for the last 10 minutes of this movie. The score kicks ass. The gore is amazing. There's so many cool, creepy sequences. The deadite makeup, the eyes, the contacts they used, the look they went with. It's awesome. Like, I love the original, but come on, you gotta admit that the deadites in this look way better. They're scarier to me, at least. And like the one in the originals, like I said, I love it. Great film. But the one dude looks like a fucking puppy dog. He's got like a puppy dog nose. In this one, they all look awesome. And they just do really fucked up things like licking the switchblade, cutting her tongue in half. This movie is just so amazing. I can watch it any time of the year and love it. Malignant. Yep, you probably saw it coming if you've seen my review. I talked about this movie for like 45 minutes explaining why it's so awesome. To me, this is James Wan's masterpiece. I think it's a beautiful homage to the giallo genre of like the 70s. It has that kind of Argento Bava look with the lighting, some blues and reds, the music even, very like Lucio Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling at times. The music kind of reminds me of the score in that film. I forget who does that one. Is it Fabio Frizzi? Or no, it's like Riz or Talani or whatever his name is, who did Cannibal Holocaust. Fantastic soundtrack. Probably my favorite from Joseph Bishara. And a twist that I did not see coming. It's another movie where it's like you got half people saying, oh, I saw it coming from like the 10-minute mark, or I saw it coming so early. It's ridiculous. But I did not see it coming. I had like all these different like ideas floating around my head as I'm watching the movie. Like, it could be this, it could be that. And then they reveal it, and I'm like, holy shit, that was not even a thought that crossed my mind for a second. And it blew me away. It's ridiculous as fuck, but I love it for it. It's purposely cheesy. This movie is purposely corny at times. Some of the dialogue, the cop characters, they're supposed to be comic relief because that's how the cop characters were in those old giallo films of the 70s. They always had quirky cops. Look at any Argento film. They had those cops in those movies. And so don't act like this is like any different somehow. And I've heard some people say this is not a giallo at all. You're smoking crack. This has every fucking like box checked for a giallo possible. I don't understand how anyone can argue that this is not even remotely a giallo. It is clearly so. So I won't even hear it. It's bullshit. This is a homage to that genre. I won't hear anything else. But it's also a mad scientist film at the beginning. It's got body horror. It's a murder mystery, like a giallo. And it's just got so many things thrown together. It's amazing. The pacing, the practical effects, that jail sequence. Holy shit. One of the best scenes in horror in recent memory. So yeah, I can't say enough about this movie. I love it. Hereditary, another movie. It's probably the longest review I have on my channel is for Hereditary. I talk about it for over an hour, explaining the movie or explaining how I see the movie, at least my theories. Talk about some of that stuff, and at the same time, I probably ask a bunch of questions in that because I don't have all the answers, but I presented some of my own answers and some questions in that long review. But this is just masterful filmmaking from like every aspect, like from the cinematography, direction, the acting, Oscar worthy. It's kind of like a basic cult movie, but told in such a different way that makes it unique and stand out. And it's just scary towards the end. Like it goes full on horror at the end. Whereas the first two thirds, you're not really quite sure what exactly is going on. And you got some shocking moments for sure. No one is safe in this movie. It's got another dark ending, and it is just masterful. One of the best horror movies in a long time. And number two. All right, so this is number two. My top two, these are the nostalgia picks. So Hatchet, I saw it at a very young age. Damn. Saw this when it first came out. I was pretty young, and I was obsessed with it. Obsessed with the kills, obsessed with the character of Victor Crowley. The comedy in this didn't stick out as much at that time, but now I watch it for the comedy as well. It's hilarious every time. Like, I've seen this movie over 50 times, and every time I watch it, it's still funny to me. I still laugh at the same jokes. The characters are hilarious, very colorful, love the dialogue, and the chemistry between Marcus, and Ben, and just the character of Victor Crowley I love, the lore, and it's just such a fun movie. It's a fun popcorn slasher flick, not to be taken seriously, has a decent amount of kills, and all of them unique to one another. There's no repeat kills in this. Very gory, over the top, fun. John Carl Buechler, practical effects in this, amazing. The head rip is one of the best kills of all time. Like, that would make definitely a list of best kills in slashers. Number one, Final Destination 3. Had to put it on here because it is my favorite horror movie. I would say definitely this or another movie that I won't say because I'll save that for a later video, maybe. But I go back and forth with that in Final Destination 3. I just adore this movie so fucking much. Again, another movie that I have a 1 hour long review for because I just can't talk about this movie enough. I love it so much. Saw it in the theaters. A lot of nostalgia for this, yes, but to me, it's a flawless Final Destination film. Like, it does everything that the first two do, but better. Like, it perfected the Final Destination formula. It has one of the best opening premonition sequences, the best kills, the best like main protagonist, some of the best acting. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I love her and Kevin in this. Chris Lemke playing Aaron or Ian, and you get two premonitions in this one. You got the second one at the very end on the train, and I just love so much of it. I don't want to say it all again. I don't want to repeat myself. Just go check out that video where I blow it for a whole hour straight. This is my favorite horror movie. Yeah, for nostalgia, but also because I just enjoy it that much. I love it that much. I love it so much that I actually just went to Vancouver to visit the theme park in this movie and all the filming locations. I went basically everywhere you could possibly go that they go to in this movie. Every scene that was not shot in like a studio, I went there. So, and I got the pictures to prove it, but I just haven't posted them anywhere. So yeah, that's how much I love this movie. It is my favorite of the 21st century, and of course, it's my favorite of that franchise. It's my favorite part three. It's my favorite of so many different things. It's phenomenal, awesome movie. So yeah, that's my unique list. I don't think there will be any other list out there that looks like mine. But I feel like there's a good combination, a good like amalgam of different genres in there, like subgenres, found footage, isolation, just all one setting, and foreign horror films, more fringe like thriller horror films, zombies, horror comedies, slashers. I had it all in there. So yeah, good unique list. What is your list? Let me know in the comments below. I have no plans for the next video. I don't know what the next video will be about. Will it be another top 10 or will it be a director filmography ranking? I don't know. But I can tell you this, it will not be a top 22. I am done with this. The last 11 videos, I've been working my way up from 10, 11, 12, all the way to 21. The next video will not be a top 22 of whatever. So it will be a top 10 or something else. So that's all I'll say for now. So yeah, what's your list? Let me know in the comments below if you're even still listening. I doubt it. 51 minutes. I start these videos with like 30 minutes in my mind. Like, I think I can do this in 30 minutes. And then I just keep talking and talking and talking. And before I know it, it's been 50 minutes. So I need to end this now. All right, so yeah, see you later. Hopefully soon, sooner than I did last time. It's been 7 weeks since my last video. Hopefully it won't be that long for the next one. I'll try to get another video out sooner. Hopefully by Halloween. So yeah, see ya.